Super cool dude. He's an entrepreneur. He raises as vegetarians. That was weird. That's my mom. I talk to my mom a lot. She is a pillar in what I do. I go to her all the time for all my questions because she keeps me accountable. She is my teacher. Okay. These are my grandparents. This is my kokum. Right here. I love this photograph. It's super powerful. This is an onion lake. These are my great grandfathers. That's an old photograph, a very long time ago photograph. And I'm going to come back to this one because there's something very special about this photograph and the band that I play in. And I'll show it to you in a couple seconds. So that's my family, Linda Young and Rod Tyler, and my extended family, generations before me, who I'm accountable to. So their teachings. That's really, I just want you guys to internalize that. It's their teachings that I'm trying to learn and to talk about and to share and be accountable to them. You can't really see that one, but that's my dad, and it's me and my brothers at my wedding. Anyways, they're cool. Yeah, if you could. Sorry. And now we're going to introduce my mom. This is a Skype conversation, but we just had to hack the mainframe. And now we have our Google Hangouts. And Mom, if you're there, we're going to bring you up now. Let's see if this works. Please work. Mom, are you there? I lost her. No way. All right, let's try it. So as I said before, my mom is Linda Young, who I began and invited, and the reason that I'm inviting her and bringing her in is because I'm accountable to her for everything that I do. The cultural teachings, the artistic decisions, the business decisions, life decisions, those teachings that are from my checklist all the way down is because of my mom. Mom, can you hear me?
I can hear you twice.
Okay, so
That might echo.
okay, so what I'm going to do is I've explained to them a bit on who we are, and then I'm going to just let you speak, and then you got about 4 minutes, and then it's the big hook. Is that all right?
4 minutes.
5?
I'm just.
All right. So everyone can see you, and we're gonna go for it. All right. Everyone, this is my mom, Linda Young. All right. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Okay. Go ahead.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. So I'm looking out my window, and I'm looking at these birds, tiny little birds that are flying around on the branches. And it made me think about how important it is that when we're excited or when we're anxious, to remember to go and touch those trees and feel the earth so that we can stay connected in a way that is calming. So I'm just looking at these birds and I'm so thankful that I have this opportunity to be able to see them and also to see you, all the different birds in Edmonton. So, and also thank you to my son, Marek. I always tell everyone that, the story about the teapot, but I won't do that now. Because he's afraid of karaoke, but actually he could sing once when he was 6. And wasn't afraid to do it, so. And Marek has always taken risks in doing what he feels is right, and so I support him in that as his mother. So I'm going to, I offered my protocols this morning so that what we do here will be blessed. What we do here will be clear for everyone. And that whatever it is that you need to take away from this session, you will find useful. And also that you can share it with others in a way that is useful for everyone to be able to work together. So we're practicing wakokdo, which is developing community, developing relationships with each other in a good way. I don't know if there has been an opportunity to welcome you to Treaty 6 territory. In Cree, we say, Kitse Asutamatuan Ipotose, which is the sacred treaty number 6. Nanaskuman, Kakiota Ebeapi, Nanaskuman Kakio, Ebesitoskoa Moses. I give thanks for all of you for being here and listening to this process of my son. So I'm going to, in Saskatoon we say we offer an acknowledgement, and that is to acknowledge the day, to acknowledge the grandfathers, the ancestors. So I'm going to do that now. I'm Plains Cree, my dialect speaker. I am from Treaty 6 territory. I come from Onion Lake Cree Nation, and I acknowledge my great-grandparents, my great-grandfathers that Marek has shared a photo with you. I was raised by my great-grandfather, the one who is wearing, well, they're all wearing shell earrings, but maybe Marek can point it out to you, but I was raised by him. And my great-grandparents were born in the late 1800s, and they looked after me. Doesn't make me 100 years old. Well, sometimes it feels that way. And so I want to acknowledge them and this day. Nanaskuman, 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 nanaskuman. Saway na, tumagay na, witi na. Ipagsemuan ka kiyo binusuma ko kasi sa kabayati ka na. Kanagatin ka, kasi binskay bayati. Witi na, tumagay, saway na. So I've asked, as I said earlier, the grandfathers and grandmothers and our ancestors to help us out, to sit with us, to hold us up when we need it, and to bless our pathway, our walk on this earth. I always ask people to say a word in Cree, so I'm going to ask you to say Sawamina.
Sawamina.
Sawamina. That means you're asking for a blessing for this day. It was it? There.
It's okay.
So we're done. If you, I'm not sure whether you wanted me to say anything else, or you?
Yeah, why don't you speak a bit to why I come to you regarding artistic and business decisions?
Okay. Well, for the same reason that I would go to my mom, who's still alive. She's in her 80s, and we don't make any decisions without consulting with our elders, our mothers, our uncles, our grandfathers, because we don't walk alone. Everywhere that we go, everything that we do, we bring with us our ancestors from the past, and our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren in the future, and the ones who are with us today. So we have to have integrity in everything that we do. We have to make sure that everything that we do is done in a way that is a blessing rather than a problem. So this is the reason why I believe it's important to speak to my mom. I'm an artist, I'm a visual artist, and I've done, the work that I do is in installation work, and sometimes the material and the content of the pieces that I make require my mother's blessing, so that she feels that it's okay for me to go forth and creating those pieces that might otherwise cause problems for my family. So this is why it's important to consult, for Marek to consult, because I am here to protect him. I am here to make sure that he has integrity in the work that he does. And I am here to make sure that he follows the proper protocols wherever he goes, whomever he speaks to, and whichever territory that he visits. So those are the reasons why it is important for us to observe protocols. It is a way of acknowledging the importance of taking from someone, whether it's music, whether it's words, whether it's pre-words, whether it's the land, it doesn't matter what it is, but it is important to acknowledge what we take from another human being, from the earth, from the animals. So that's the reason we have to follow that protocol.
Okay. Thanks, Mom. I love you.
Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Talk soon.
Yes.
Okay, just one. Here we go. She was about to say something. Okay, all right, so she really just gave my whole presentation in like about 3 minutes. So I'll be quick about it, and then we're gonna have a conversation that works for everyone. And I'm gonna ask Jacqueline, could you come and do the
Will do.
What are protocols? So what I would like you to take away from today's conversation is kind of what my mom is speaking to. What are protocols? When are protocols used? Where are protocols used? Whose protocols are we going to use, and why protocols are being used? Protocols again are a way for us to do business, to make decisions, and be accountable, to keep ourselves accountable. Protocols are used to learn more about who we are and where we're from, the land that we're on, and the lands that we're visiting. When our protocols are being used is when, if we were to put on a show, we want to extend the protocols to the land, or to the territory that we're on, and we want to learn from them. So an example of that is where protocols are used. I'll be very specific about this. In here in Treaty 6 territory, if we were to have a sharing circle, we would all sit in a circle, and then it would go clockwise around the circle. That's the order that it would happen. So the reason we do that, from my understanding, from my mom's teachings, is when I go into sweat or into lodge, we go this way, around the hot rocks. That's how we enter the room. When I smudge a room, if I have to clean the room, I go clockwise, around. That's how we enter the room and clean the room. We have a sharing circle, the same thing. That's how it's done in my territory. And I'm pretty sure about this territory. But, if we go to Duncan, BC, they go the other way. When in Rome is how protocols work. So, in order for you to figure that out, you have to engage the community, and specifically the cultural advisor or elder in that community. That builds that connection. That makes it real. That makes you accountable to them. You could look up this stuff on the interweb, and you could learn about it, but then you're not accountable to anyone but the internet. We need to get accountable to our teachers, to my mom. Whose protocols are going to be used? When in Rome. Why are protocols used? It builds connections, as I was saying, but also builds accountability. And I'll give a specific piece on that. Jacqueline and I are going to be going into the Dreamcatcher business. I'm going to learn Dreamcatchers from YouTube. Jack's going to learn Dreamcatchers from my mom. We both do it in the course of a day, and then we go on to sell our Dreamcatchers. I'm not accountable to anyone for the Dreamcatcher that I learned how to make on YouTube. Jacqueline spent the whole day with my mom, and he learned all her stories and the lessons behind the Dreamcatcher. And she's going to check in with you at the end of your day to see how you're doing. You become accountable to her. That is more important than YouTube. You didn't appropriate anything there. I might have. big difference there. So accountability, how protocols are used, and how we engage with community is really, really important in this work. So we're going to talk about protocols how protocols work in computer space and in the workplace, both in the professional area and creative area. Creatively, I've been at Nehiwa. Professionally, I'm a senior contracts manager, and I've done a lot of large cultural work. Spirit Pole was a total that was taken across British Columbia to 55 different communities, enabling more than 12,000 people covering a lot. We did protocols in every one of those communities over the course of 3 months. The Eagle Project was a way for at-risk youth to learn to get back into school and to work by learning soft skills based around carbon protocol. The Witness Blanket was a national commemorative art project for residential school survivors, including my mom. I'm the first generation, my sisters and myself, my brothers, do not go to residential school in over 100 years. Do not walk up those steps. It's not lost on us. Like you said earlier, we have people ahead of us, my grandparents and people in front of us, my nieces and nephews that I have to account to. It's not lost on us. So the Eagle Project, this is Kerry Newman. He is one of my mentors and one of my best friends, and I just love him. So I want you guys all to Google Kerry Newman and check him out, because he's a very cool dude. It's him carving. What they did is they carved 3 poles in front of at a friendship center, and they got over 300 people, I believe, to go back to school. That's using culture and art in a very creative way, an innovative way. Carrie also, this is Carrie again. This is one of the carvers. This is the total code here. We went to over 55 communities, allowed 12,000 people to learn how to carve a total code. Community engagement through art, learning about culture. For us, what I took away from there was the cultural protocols for 55 different communities. I was in Nelson, BC, and I went to shake the hand of the elder, and I shook the hand, and I went 35 kilometers to Creston, BC, and I went to shake the hand of the elder, and my hand smacked, because I went to shake the wrong hand at the wrong time. They're so close, but their protocols are entirely different. The onus is on me to make sure what I was doing was correct and proper before that. Big lesson, huge lesson. So cultural protocols are now. So I'm going to get you to press play. What this is the national, just press play, no, that's fine. Hopefully be able to hear it.
Oh, I can see there.
Yeah.
I couldn't see on the first one.
Can everyone hear and see?
Between 1870 and 1996, more than 150,000 Indigenous children were taken from their families and sent to residential schools.
That's exactly.
Their identities were stolen, cultures extinguished. They were undernourished, neglected, and often abused. There were more than 4,100 confirmed deaths. Did your school have a graveyard? How could this have happened? Where do we go from here? The Witness Blanket, a national monument to recognize the atrocities of the Indian residential school era.
Strewn in the wake of the Indian residential schools are an immeasurable number of broken or damaged pieces. These fragmented cultures, crumbling buildings, segments of language, and grains of diminished pride are often connected only by the common experience that created them. Imagine those pieces, symbolic and tangible, woven together in the form of a blanket. A blanket made from pieces of residential schools, churches, government buildings, and cultural structures. A blanket where the story of each piece is as important to its construction as the wood and screws that hold it together. A blanket with the sole purpose of standing in eternal witness to the effects of the Indian residential school era. The system created and run by churches and the Canadian government to take the Indian out of the child. Left alone, these pieces may be forgotten, lost, buried, or worse, be uncomfortable reminders that leave painful impressions on the minds and hearts of those who recognize what they represent. Individually, they are paragraphs of a disappearing narrative. Together, they are strong and formidable, collectively able to recount for future generations the true story of loss, strength, reconciliation, and pride.
So, oh, you know what? Let's finish it off. It's only 30 seconds. Let's do it. You can't see it, but 7 seconds.
The witness blanket may be the most important piece that I ever created, and I feel an obligation to bring it to as many communities as possible. We need to honor the survivors and remember the children who were lost. We need to speak openly about these stories to ensure that this never happens again.
So the witness blanket is, again, a national component of our project. What we did was that we went to, we engaged every level of government, from First Nation, municipal, provincial, and federal. We gathered artifacts. And every time we did that engagement, we extended protocol. Again, and we worked with residential school survivors, like my mom. The work is very difficult. It's very hard. But you're in a creative space. So how did we do that? How was I able to talk to my mom on camera with the darkest period of her time? You know, to open that up. It was because we engaged ourselves, again, through a respectful process. Creative space for me is not just about making art. Creative space for me is about creating a safe environment for us to live in. It's more than just the result. It's the magic of the process. It's the feeling that you get when you're in a rehearsal space playing a song and your head starts doing this. It feels so good. It's that feeling, the aha moment when you realize you're really honest. And being able to have that space and create that space for you so that we can do this in a respectful way. So, Carrie Newman, I play in a band called Nahiwa. Carrie Newman is one of my mentors in that work. I go to him when I'm having work issues. I can go to my mom. It's one of my community. Carrie, when we went to record an album on Vancouver Island, I asked Carrie, I said, hey, I'm coming there, I need a good sound of wood. And he was like, okay, I got something for you. You can't really see it, but there's a log here that he carved and made it to the shape of a whale. And it sounds amazing. And it's all over the album because it just sounds amazing. It was the sound I heard when I was a kid at powwow of people playing. And then he goes, I also have this drum. It's a really big drum. And I was like, oh, it's probably this big. And I was like, oh, but you should come over and get it. When you bring a van, I'm like, oh, okay. And I really was like I was just being, I was being presumptuous, thinking that it was something that I had to do for it. But if you press play, this is the sound, this is the drum. The first time that I was able to play, that's that drum's 6 foot by 3 foot. It's an Elkai drum. And I'm losing my mind right now just listening, but I was like, hey, what you can't see is I'm in my pajamas. Okay, so the reason I bring that up is because Carrie and I have developed this relationship, is working with the process and protocol that Mom's taught me, and then I'll ask my mom a question afterwards. It was usually, we do that so that we build that connection. That connection is, even though we live along, like she lives in Saskatoon, I'm here, the connection is really close because of that. Does that make sense? So we internalize it, and then I ask her. I usually get a pretty good response. Sometimes she's like, oh. Any other questions, real quick? Okay, we're gonna go into just a bit of the lecture, and this is great. These are my students from I teach at the Grand McEwen, so So it's great to see you all, but they've seen this. All right. Refresh. Okay, so what I do is there's some academic work by Bowman Deal. They did some organizational work about the 4 frames. This works really well for me, the cultural process that I go under. So what does protocols look like from a structural place? So let's think of let's frame it in this. Structural is the house that we work in. So how are protocols used in your place of work? Are they used in your place of work? Human resources. Do people in your work need culture? It's a really good question. Politically, are protocols and culture being politicized? Is there tokenship going on? It's a big thing right now. And the last piece is symbolic. Why do we do this? What does symbolic culture look like? Is it important? So again, the house that we live in or work in, the people that we work with, how is culture influencing others? Is being politicized, and what does it symbolically mean to the people outside of your house? So structurally, the frame focuses on the obvious. This frame means how do we make change? How do we insert protocol or culture into the creative space of workplace? And what we do there is that we concentrate on making sure that there's responsibilities and reporting lines. So I want you to think about that one, because for me, when I'm working in this house, if I want to embed culture into our process, who do I report to make sure that I can do that? Is there a process already involved? At academia and public events, they have a policy saying that we need to do territorial acknowledgement. So this is how do they embed culture into it? Move on to the next one. Human resources. I speak a lot from the band because I use this process in the band to protect ourselves. So this frame places more emphasis on our needs. So as a band in our creative place, we need to do this. We need to do it because it protects us from being tokenized. And what I mean by that is we can get offered an opportunity, but if we don't go through our protocols and find out from that community if this opportunity is cool, we could be tokenized. I'm here to see an agreement there. Have you seen that before? Yeah. This is a really important thing. If I'm embedding culture into our process, I have to protect myself and my community and my constituents. Politically, the political framework addresses the problem of individuals or interest groups. So it is very easy to see that happening right now. I don't know more. You saw it in there. You see it in the current political climate. I just got back from the Assembly of First Nations meetings in Ottawa. Holy smokes! Like that is an incredible forum to see how our culture is on a political stage. And if I decide to put culture out there, why am I doing it? Am I also politicizing my own culture? Would my mom, my grandma, my great-grandparents, would they be cool with that? I don't know. And then we'll next to the last one. It's symbolically. Does anyone know where this is? Yeah. It's at the bottom. It's in the Beaver. It's called Beaver Falls. Is that right? It's you know where the new bridge is? There is a sacred place there. It's an old cemetery. And they have a monument there that has it's not closed because the relationship is not complete yet between indigenous and non-indigenous people. So symbolically, culture has been shown to show this relationship is not closed, it's not complete. And I love that piece. I go down there and I'll take a look. It's still there, it still resonates with me. So symbolically addresses people's needs for a sense of purpose and meaning in their work. So when we do our work in Mexico, we're in a critical place, so in a house that I'm working in, an academic organization or a travel council. Symbolically, where's culture? Or what's the role of culture? Am I politicizing it? Am I just being, are we doing a treaty acknowledgement just for the check mark? Are we actually practicing treaty? Are we actually getting along? Because that is an important conversation to have. It's something just to internalize it. Maybe like, ask yourself that question. So to go back to it, we're not going to do the breakout sessions, but to go back to it, when I'm thinking about culture in the workplace, culture in the creative space, I think about it from a structural place. Do we have the safe place environment to bring culture into it? Does it meet the needs of my band, the people that I work alongside with, the students that I work with at Grant Field? Is this a political gesture? And if so, why is it so? Does it need to be done? And symbolically, is culture in good ways? Does it symbolize a good thing? And if I can give myself this perspective, then I'm not just working from one lens. I'm working from four lenses. If I just see everything out of this process, or just the people's needs, or symbolic needs, I am not being accountable to my own teachings. I'm not being accountable to my community teachings. I'm not being accountable to the community that is. I'm not. It's very easy to wag the finger at what's wrong instead of actually learning what's right.